What if Naruto was a prodigy and neglected part 2? Let's go. Now that Naruto has understood, roughly at least, Kurama's story, and how all the tailed beasts came to be, and how chakra reached the mortals, the normal humans, from Kaguya, a godly being, and Otsutsuki, from space. Naruto didn't quite understand all of it, but he got the rough idea. Though it was a little bit tricky with all the weird names. Naruto's never heard any of these, except for the Sage of Six Paths. He did hear that. Kurama did mention that guy a bunch of times before, but Naruto never really had the guts to ask who that is. In his newfound home, Naruto is able to practice a bunch more and much faster. He has weights made out of rock, so he can train. He has many separate practice rooms where he brought different elements. In one, he has a lot of rocks that he tries to manipulate and uses his Earth-style chakra to try to do that. Then he brought a bunch of branches so he could try to get wood-style, though of course he's failing at that for now. Of course he can do wind pretty easily as it's all around. Fire, he just lights up some sticks, and so on and so on. And of course water he can just get from the river that he's very close to. And yes, he did now make a wooden bucket. So now he greatly enhances his elemental control and learns some new jutsu, including the mud wall and so on and so forth. And he also learns that somehow he has all 5 chakra natures, which did catch Kurama off guard, as he was going to train 1, maybe 2 if Naruto did have to, but all 5? Well, that's going to be a lot of training in front of him, but it's going to make him even stronger. And with that, another year passes by, and at this point Naruto has even increased the size of his underground house, bunker, whatever you want to call it. It's his home. He's made many new rooms, some that he barely uses, but it's still nice to have them. He has basically unlimited space, and he can just make a room whenever he wants to, so he used that to his maximum ability. And even if there's a room that he doesn't like, he can just change it, as he's now so profound in Earth style that he can do basically what Kurama did a year ago, creating objects like it's nothing in mere seconds. And he could, probably, create a whole new one building like this, a whole new bunker, if he tried, but he hasn't yet. And then something weird happened a while ago. He actually reached the outside of the Forest of Death, not just that, but of the Leaf Village. He was outside of the Leaf Village. Was this a freedom? But he felt guilty. He knew that, well, he was supposed to stay in the forest. He knew that, and Kurama told it to him many times. And it was his home, he couldn't just leave it. But there was the temptation to go outside. Now, it's at this time that Naruto becomes more serious and much more intellectual. Before, he had been taking life pretty easy and just going with the flow. But now, he's gonna do this. For real. He started questioning many things that were just normal to himself before. And he was actually even questioning himself and his life. And even going as far as questioning his senses, which made him wonder and have many sleepless nights. But there was things to learn from it. And if anything, there was things to train about it. Not the thinking necessarily, but the thinking led him to an idea. What if he used his chakra to enhance his eyesight, his hearing, his feel of touch? What if his reality was limited, but perhaps he could change that with the use of chakra and ninjutsu? From Kurama, he had heard many stories of the Sharingan, but not good ones. Kurama explained it to be a hateful, aggressive, and depressing dojutsu. An eye of war, used by many murderers. And the worst one of them all was Madara Uchiha. However, to Naruto's sadness, Kurama went on to explain that it was not able to be gotten by anyone. Naruto would have to be an Uchiha to get it. The only other way was to implant it, but then it would lose some of its power, and the user would never truly get all of it, even if training with it. However, Naruto was not happy with that answer. He wanted more. So he tried his best, poured chakra into his eyes, meditated, trained his eyesight, plugged his ears, and only concentrated on eyesight. And his eyesight did get much better. He could see much clearer, further, in more detail. He could even react faster. But no signs of a Sharingan. He wasn't happy, and he was still gonna try this and continue to do it for every day, for the rest of his life if he had to. If he kept continuing to grow, perhaps someday his eye's power would grow into a Sharingan. But for now, he also tried the same technique to enhance his eyesight. He tried to use on different things, such as his hearing. So he closed his eyes, sat down, meditated, and listened. He was not going to be daydreaming, but listened to the nature, to the birds, to the river flowing nearby, to the squirrels on the trees, and to nature's beauty. And indeed, after a week of doing this for an hour each day, along with his normal training, his ears became better. And now, he could see and hear better at the same time. Of course, his eyes were still not a Sharingan, and he was going to try his best to do that, but it seemed to get better and better each day, and he still had hope. Also, by concentrating and letting his chakra flow only onto specific sensing organs, he was able to increase his ability to control his chakra flow and make it more precise. This allowed him to not waste any kind of chakra that was leaking out, but to really be exact. Also now with that, he tried increasing his speed whilst running by putting the chakra into his feet, and then learned that he could walk on trees. Not just that, but with one day of practice, he could walk on water. In just about 2 weeks, his chakra capabilities and chakra control had increased massively, and Kurama was very proud of his brother. It was kind of a weird dynamic. Sometimes Kurama was an older brother, though sometimes also a father figure. It really depended on the situation. But nonetheless, they were very close, and they never really got into an argument. No matter what, they couldn't stay mad at each other. And even if they wanted to, they were the only people in each other's lives. And since they were Jinchuriki and Tailed Beast, they were kind of forced to talk to each other, so that wasn't avoidable either. One day, whilst going to pick some berries and herbs to eat afterwards, Naruto suddenly hid in the bushes as he felt two people approaching, and tried his best to hide his chakra, as Kurama did teach him how to do it. He knew that it'd be very important for Naruto's future, as he was basically a secret inside the forest, and if he dragged too much attention with his chakra signature, he could get in big trouble. So, hiding his chakra was Kurama's #1 priority. So, Naruto is really good at it. He was invisible for anyone trying to sense any chakra. He was truly undetectable. And now hiding, you couldn't see him, hear him, or detect him. He was as if he was not there. But he then noticed that these two people were only young boys. Of course, they were older than him, at least 5 years, but they were still pretty young. One probably around 10, the other maybe 12, 13. By the way, Naruto's still 5. But still, that's not a huge age difference. And Naruto saw that these two kids were playing with kunai. Not playing, they were practicing. And they were really good. Even better than Naruto was. One of them showed the younger one how to do it. And he threw 7 of them at the same time, each one at a target that he just set up on each of the trees. He did it so good that multiple kunai hit each other in the air and then went to their target. And it was all bullseyes. Naruto was heavily impressed. This is a Shinobi skill, he thought. This is incredible. And then he noticed that the younger boy, was using a Sharingan. It was beautiful. It was a red eye with 3 dots in it, which Kurama told him was called a Tomoe. And whilst Naruto was scared a little bit because of all the horror stories that Kurama told him, especially since Kurama was abused by the Sharingan's power and controlled by Madara many times over, and for multiple years he was used in battle and in war. Naruto was intrigued nonetheless, stayed conscious of all the stories, and did stay hidden, but he was very interested. And now he saw it. He saw that with his eyes, he could see the chakra flow in another human's body. It was faint at first, but when Naruto focused on it, especially on the kid who was using a Sharingan, it was easier to see. Naruto could see the other person's chakra flow. He didn't have any other human to test it on except for these 2 kids, so he'd never really know. Was it because of his training? Or did he really have a dojutsu that he didn't know about? Does he have the Sharingan now? Naruto tried to look at himself, but that was kind of hard. He could go back to the river and look, but then these 2 boys might be gone. This opportunity might never come again, so he stayed and tried to look out for anything that they were doing. He was definitely going to try this training that they were doing afterwards too, try to perfect his kunai throwing. It was pretty good. He was able to hunt very well, but not like this, not with this kind of finesse. Especially not using multiple kunai in the air at the same time whilst jumping with that kind of precision. Never. And then the boys left, and Naruto got back to training. He trained his eyes vigorously, but sadly when he looked in the river, no Sharingan was visible. But for some reason, he seemed happy about it. He thought that if this isn't even the power of the Sharingan, and I'm already this powerful and can see the chakra, then what it'll be when I get the Sharingan. For Naruto at this point, it wasn't if he gets the Sharingan, it was a matter of when. And he couldn't wait. But nonetheless, he kept training. And then one day, he saw a young girl about his age. Now it's winter time, so snow is laying all around. And Naruto actually went pretty close to the village. Not too close, of course, but with a little bit of a clearance and looking through the trees, he was able to see some houses for the first time in his life. It was the furthest that he's ever gone before, but since there was the snow and he was wearing white fur, he thought that he could hide easily so no one would detect him, and he was hiding his chakra really well. He saw this girl with pale eyes, being annoyed, perhaps bullied, by 3 older kids. Naruto would later find out that these 3 kids were already going to the Ninja Academy in Konoha, and were already 1 year in. And one's older brother was actually already a genin. And now they were picking on this 5-year-old girl. Naruto was about to lose it and wanted to help her so bad. He wanted to be a hero, but then remembered that Kurama made him vow that he would not even go near the people of Konoha. They were not good to Naruto, and they were not good to Kurama, so he would never help them, no matter what. Naruto thought why this girl was being bullied, and why he couldn't help her. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't kick them out of the village, did she? She didn't hurt Kurama. So why? Naruto didn't understand. But before he could catch his thoughts, the 3 boys were gone, and the girl with her scarf on the floor, a little bit ripped, she slowly walked to likely her house with a very sad look on her face, slumped shoulders, and overall a depressing mood. Then Naruto went back to his room. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!